Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Victoria and today's video is going to be a quick and easy tutorial on how to create this trendy tie neck collar. So I've already gone ahead to cut out the neckline on the fabric. This is a front neckline 4 inches wide and 4 inches deep. And the first thing I'm going to do is to create a V shape along the center front. So I'll be going down by 1.5 inches and I'll be going in by 1 inch. So now I'm just going in with my ruler to connect the 2 points together like so. After which I'll be cutting out the V shape and pinning along the center front so my fabric stays put. The next thing to do is to create a facing for the V shape area, just the V shape area. So I have this piece of fabric that I just folded in two and I'll be using to cut out the facing for that. So I'm just aligning the center front and pinning the facing to the fabric so it doesn't move. So now that I have the facing, I'll be placing it onto the fabric, right sides facing each other. And then I'll be pinning the facing to the fabric before taking it over to the machine and sewing along the V shape. So first I'll be sewing on the right side of the fabric before turning the facing over to the wrong side and stitching it down. And after stitching, this is what it looks like on the right side and on the wrong side. The V shape is a bit wide after stitching, so instead of going in by 1 inch like I did, you can go in by half an inch. So now it's time to work on the tie neck collar, and the first thing to do is to determine the midpoint of the back neckline. So I'm just making a notch at that point, and that's essentially going to guide me when it's time to attach the collar. And for the collar, I cut out this rectangular piece that is 6 inches wide and about 60 inches long. You can make yours longer if you wish. And I'll be marking the midpoint of this as well. If you want a stiff collar, at this point you can add some interfacing to the wrong side of this piece before attaching it to the neckline. So what I'll be doing next is to match the midpoint of the back neckline to the midpoint of the collar, and I'll be stitching around the neckline and stopping just before the V shape. So like I said, I'm aligning the midpoint of the collar to the midpoint of the back neckline, and I'm placing the right side of the collar to the wrong side of the back neckline. So I'm just going to pin the entire area I'll be stitching down. Like I said, I'm placing the right side of the collar to the wrong side of the neckline, and I'll be stopping just before the V shape. So I'm all done pinning, and it's time to take it to the machine and stitch around the area. I'm all done stitching, and this is what it looks like. So now I'll be folding the rest of the collar on the wrong side like so, and I'll be stitching it close from one end all the way down to where the V shape begins. And I'll be doing the same for the other side as well. So first I'll be pinning to hold everything in place before taking it over to the machine. So I'll be creating a slant about 2 inches away from the end of the collar like so. So now that I'm done stitching, I'll be trimming out the excess and turning it over to the right side. So after trimming and turning it to the right side, what's left to do is to finish off the raw edge by folding it in and sewing it close. So I'll be taking it in and pinning it down from one end to another. So if you want a stiff tie neck collar, you can add some interfacing to this before attaching it to the neckline, but I'll be going for a loose one, so no interfacing. And when I'm all done pinning, I'll be taking it over to the machine and stitching very close to the edge. As you can see, I'm sewing very close to the edge. At this point, you just need to take your time and sew as neatly as you can to have a nice finish. And that's it for the tie collar. This is what it looks like on the inside and on the outside. So guys, we've come to the end of this tutorial. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.